Welcome back to Get Lost with Brooks. Today, we're going to be talking about tips, tricks, and conditions for camping, hiking, and off-roading in Mojave National Preserve. Cool intro. Kapow! It's super cool. Yeah! Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Get Lost with Brooks. I'm Brooks. For New Year's, my girlfriend and I visited Mojave National Preserve, and I've got 3 locations that I want to tell you about, plus a bonus tip at the end. So those 3 locations are Sima Lava Tube, the Lava Tube, Aiken Mine Road. Number 2 is the Mojave Road. And number 3 is Kelso Dunes. And the bonus tip, we'll get to that at the end. So let's start with number 1. The Lava Tube is also known as Sima Lava Tube, Sima Dome Lava Tube. I was attracted to the Lava Tube because of the natural beauty of the place. It's got these 2 holes in the ceiling where light comes through. And then I was attracted by the prospect of more adventure by following Aiken Mine Road north. You actually visit the Aiken Mine, and then there's a bunch of just back roads, including the Mojave phone booth. So that's pretty cool. Getting there is pretty easy. You just need to go to this GPS point off of Kelbaker Road, and then you head north on a little dirt road. This guy is pretty easy for 2-wheel drive. No need for 4-wheel drive and not really any clearance. I saw plenty of sedans heading here. Now, when you get to this sign, you need to turn left and you'll find a little parking spot. Now, when I was on foot, it's not difficult to find this thing. So just when it looks like you need to turn right, and you're there.
Let's go in and check it out.
There's a ladder leading down in there, which makes it pretty easy, to get into and explore.
There it is. Oh yeah, that's the stuff right there.
I would recommend coming in a season where the sun is a little bit higher, like maybe just before summer or after summer, because the light beams will be straight up and down, and you'll really get that Indiana Jones effect. But I gotta say, any time of year here is pretty cool. I mean, look at these photos. Look at the vibe here. Seriously cool adventure stuff. Next, we continued north on Aiken Mine Road. Just after that is where you're gonna find the hardest part of this whole road. You definitely need 4-wheel drive for this, and clearance doesn't hurt. I didn't have any trouble with it, but it looks a little sketchy for the uninitiated. Just past that is Aiken Mine. So it turns out that when the mine dried up, it was cheaper to just leave all of the materials there. So everything's just intact, and you can go explore it, which I thought was really cool. And the red cinder everywhere is really cool. Definitely worth checking out, and seriously, just beyond the Lava Tube. So if you've gone there, you might as well go check this out. To figure out how I was gonna do this, I consulted a bunch of different sources, including this map and some websites. If you look at this map, the link to it is in the description. You'll definitely have no trouble. It points out the sandy spots and just makes it super easy to know which turns to take. Following the road north, we found a couple cool things on the road, but it's a really chill drive. A little bit sandy at times, but we found this really cool ranch, which was like super cool and abandoned and definitely worth going to. And then I had to visit the remnants of the Mojave phone booth, which if you haven't heard that story, just super cool story. People would call in from all over the world, and other people would drive out to this phone booth to pick up the phone. It was there for miners, and when all mining activity ceased, they removed the phone booth. So now we just have the remnants of it, but still pretty cool piece of history there. Oh, and pro tip, the road ends at a Shell station, so you can air up your tires if you've already aired down and get gas. I'm letting my girlfriend drive off-road for the first time. She's doing great. Next up, the Mojave Road. Now here's the deal, okay? We visited Mojave for New Year's, so it's pretty cold out and my gear is not extremely warm, so we decided to glamp. That meant that I was not prepared to do the full Mojave Road, which is like 3 to 4 days. Instead, we did the western section. The reason I wanted to do the western section was so that we could see Soda Lake and so that we could do a water crossing. I had never done a water crossing before, and I have been preparing So I was really stoked to do it. To get there, again, just go to this GPS point off of Kelbaker Road. Real easy. The Mojave Road, as you may or may not know, is an icon for overlanders. It's just this huge, amazing, beautiful desert track that's actually pretty easy to do. But you're gonna need some things, especially on the western section of this thing. So make sure you have these things. You're gonna need a 4-wheel drive vehicle. You're gonna need to be prepared for the water crossing, so maybe upgrade your breathers or get a snorkel. You're gonna wanna air down your tires and be comfortable driving in sand. And you're gonna need GPS because there are some spots that it's really easy to get lost. I highly recommend Fun Trek's guide, which I'll link in the description. I totally used this guy, and I actually went online and downloaded their waypoints onto my Garmin GPS, which made it super easy to follow the road, especially in those sections where it gets tricky. I'll talk about that in a second. Oh, and Soda Lake must be dry, so check the weather report. If it's rained in the last 2 weeks, I would be wary about that section and expect 4 to 5 hours for the whole thing. I took about 4.5, and I also got a little bit lost. So the first part of the drive was great. A little bit sandy, super easy. Crossing Jackass Canyon was just beautiful. And then we got to Soda Lake. The main trail here is totally dry. There hadn't been any rain, but I noticed a little bit of moisture around there. It was a really easy crossing and very beautiful. I mean, if you've looked at any of the photos, you know it's just this vast expanse, this vast dry lake. And I'm really into that kind of expansive stuff, so I really liked that. Traveler's Monument was really cool to see. Remember to bring a rock to put here. We put a special little sticker on ours.
Unicorn rock, unicorn duality rock.
A little special touch, you know?
Careful, babe.
After that, things got pretty sandy and got pretty easy to lose our way. We luckily ran into some other people, but we even lost them for a little while. So when in doubt, stick to your GPS and don't be afraid to backtrack. We definitely did. Eventually, the sand gives way to a wash. And there was a little bit of water in that wash, but it didn't present a problem at all. And it started around this trestle. Going under it was super cool. I also loved a train was just coming by at exactly the right moment. Thanks. Okay, I'll take it. After that, we came up to Spooky Canyon. Listen, you gotta go to Spooky Canyon. I totally forgot about it. I'd read about it. But this place is magical. Bring a headlamp and bring some gloves. It's a slot canyon that snakes into this like sandy wall, an embankment of Afton Canyon, which is a beautiful place unto itself. But the light disappears like super quick. So you need a headlamp or a phone flashlight. And you'll reach some steep parts, which you're gonna need ropes to get up. I chose not to go all the way to the end because I was with my girlfriend and she did not want to climb those ladders. And there was a Disneyland-sized line to get up the last rope ladder, so I decided not to do it. But I heard the views were great. And I'm super interested in the background of this type of place, so I was asking some of the folks in the area about it. And here's the story of how the canyon was formed.
Okay.
What's your name?
Dan.
Brooks.
Basically, there was an ancient sea. As you're leaving Barstow and going towards Vegas, before you climb Afton Road, there was a levee. And the levee broke. And the sea drained, and that's what created all this.
Okay, so that was a lot of fun, and after that, the road just kind of snakes through some more of the wash, and we also drove up next to the train tracks. But the last and exciting part about this track was the water crossing. Okay, I totally forgot. There's actually 2 water crossings. This is the first one under this trellis, and as you can see, it's not that deep. The deepest part is coming up right here as we round the corner, but it wasn't that bad. Certainly nothing in comparison to what would come next.
That was really cool.
We were traveling east to west, and the locals recommended that from that direction, you want to stay on the left side of the water crossing, okay? And they say, at least right now, it's about 30 inches. But I gotta tell you, in the middle of the crossing, it does dip a little bit precariously. That dip in the middle brought the water level to like 1 inch of my window, so that was a little bit freaky. This thing was so much fun. We did it. I was having a lot of fun. The car was having a lot of fun. My girlfriend was having a lot of fun. Look at how pleased she is. We're dripping a little bit here, but everything looks like it's still functioning. Everything here is working except the relationship. Kidding, baby, it's just a joke. Okay, finally, the third spot you've got to check out in Mojave National Preserve is Kelso Dunes. These dunes are iconic and they're beautiful. They jut right out of the natural landscape, you know, sort of standing in stark contrast to this red rock. There's this brilliant golden sand. You know, it's super easy to get to. It's super easy to hike. It was like an hour's hike. The wind was really consistent and it was really cold, but it was a lot of fun. I was wondering to myself, how did these dunes get here in the middle of nowhere? It turns out that prevailing winds travel across Devil's Playground, the desert directly in front of it. And as they blow, they pick up sand, but then they hit the, let's see, what are they called? Then when they hit the granite mountains, they push up and go back and deposit their travelers into these dunes. It made me feel a little bit better about contributing to the erosion of these beautiful dunes, but luckily they're being rebuilt all the time, so no worries there. Pro tip, if you've never climbed dunes, take the ridge line. It's so much easier than going up the face, and definitely run down the face. You make up for all the lost steps going up, and it's so much fun. Okay, now for the bonus. I gotta tell you about Nipton, California. This place is a super cool, weird town in the middle of nowhere, and you've gotta go. We used it as a home base for all of our adventures across the 4 or 5 days that we were visiting. And I found it totally by accident when I was zooming out in Airbnb. So first of all, the place we stayed is like an eco shelter. There's not any insulation. There's a wood stove. They stock the wood for you. And it's got a bed and a couch. We were super comfortable, if a bit cold some of the nights.
I think it's snowing inside the cabin.
But at least it protected us from some of the wind. And again, I was not prepared to be camping in that kind of weather, so that served us really well. They have a huge collection of Burning Man art, which I totally didn't expect and totally loved.
I don't have any registration. Sorry.
You owe $2.9 million, sir.
And the people there were super cool. I mean, on New Year's Eve, we had this giant bonfire, and I got to know people, and I met people like Dennis and his son Cody. And if you go, you gotta ask Cody, who works there and lives there, about giving you a tour of the local mine. Definitely talk to the locals, super 420 friendly. They have a general store, get everything you need. Just totally mind-blowingly cool place. That's it, that's my trip report for Mojave National Preserve. I hope you liked it, and I hope it helps you on your next adventure. Please like this video if you liked it. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And if you want more trip reports and more guides and beautiful videos of the outdoors, please subscribe. Smash the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. See you out there.